28 podcast. I'm here with Anthony H. Met him at a Vital event, and today, we're just on 28 podcast about to find out exactly who he is. I seen a lot about him actually. I mean, on I see a lot of people post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Vital people, like
Yeah,
AJ.
And to see you on a flyer and shit like that, bro, and like, I just think about like you're so young, you know what I'm saying? And I think it's a really nice way to start. I mean, how old are you, bro?
I just turned 18.
You just turned
Like,
18 for sure.
A few weeks ago, yeah.
And how long have you been making music for?
Well, I started like making beats in like middle school, like 6th, 7th grade, but that was cool and all, but it wasn't too crazy. But I started going to the studio and like doing vocals, like making my own songs, writing my own stuff, like maybe last summer.
For sure.
And then I really started, that was like really just my practice time and like just getting the hang of it. But I really didn't even have like a whole song. I had like 10 sessions with like no music. I was really just trying to get my voice like just like right with the auto tune. Not even like how it sounds now, but just like decent enough, you know?
Yeah.
But I really started like making, like I made the first track that I made was October, and that was like we had a ditch day at school, and I was like, we had slept over at my friend's house the night before, and I'm like, yo, I kind of want to go to the studio because we were freestyling in the car, you know, and I was like, I want to go to the studio, so I wrote something to this beat I had, and then it was October like 5th or something. I went in, and I used up like the whole 2 hours, but I made like one song, and it was like decent enough, and then ever since then I started coming every single week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where was the first studio you went to?
The first one in the summer was at 6:30. You know they make like the music videos and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was with producer. His name is Vizzy, and shout out to Vizzy. He's an amazing engineer. He's the one who really taught me like, cause I didn't know like anything when it came to like recording vocals. So I really just like locked in with him, and he really tried to get me to be comfortable with it. And I didn't get to make like any songs with him, but he would just like try to get me to practice, and then eventually I just got it.
Like breaking in your voice? What do you say, or what?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. And then the next one I went to was Vital in Joliet. And shout out to them too, because they've been doing their thing, like performances and everything. They got an amazing studio. I worked with Fuck Josh, that's his name, and he engineered my first track, and it's just like crazy. The studio just has such a nice vibe with the lights, and then like they just built really nice.
I had to pick that one. Did you perform at Vital's last event?
The Sunset Showdown?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
You did? I mean, I saw you were on the thing, but you performed for sure. What songs did you perform?
I did the one that a lot of people know, Messing With Me.
Yeah.
The second one was called So Different. I dropped that like around my birthday, so like a month ago. And then an unreleased track I have called Miami. And then, yeah, that's all the songs I performed.
Do you have like people from your school come see you and shit like that? Or
from the school I'm going to right now, which is like for engineering, audio engineering and stuff. Yeah, I had one of my homies that goes out there. He lives in Joliet, so I'm like, yeah, pull up, bro. And he came, and then I had one of my friends from my high school that we go way back, but he does photography, so he came and he took pictures for me and like some other artists too.
So what? Explain to me, bro. What was your thought process when you decided that you were gonna take music serious, bro? Cause I feel like everybody's got a different one, and you just said you're young as hell, so you still remember,
Yeah, I feel like yesterday. Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like I take it like seriously, like to different levels. Like I feel like it goes. Like I had one time where I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it, and then like kept going like even more intense. But like the first time, I'd always had like a passion for music, like since I was a kid, right? Cause I did band from 5th grade to like my sophomore year, and then that was when like COVID hit. So like after that, we weren't really like doing any of that. Like we were
Yeah.
going to school, so there was no point in me doing it anymore. But I was still like making beats and stuff. But what really like made me take it serious, like recording and stuff, um, I don't know. I just wanted to push myself to try something new, cause it was like, yeah, it was May 30th, like right, almost like a year ago today,
Yeah.
and I had gone through like a breakup, like the first one, like serious, right?
Yeah.
And I was just like, damn, like I was really just bummed out, and I really didn't have like motivation for anything. And I'm like, well, I don't know, like I'm trying to do something different, you know? And then I was just like always about bettering myself, and then I'm like, it kind of scares me, but it kind of seems cool. So I did it like the first time I would get in the studio. I came with one of my friends, and then we really didn't make something, but I just kept doing things that like made me feel that way. And then
Yeah.
and just because I had to in the first place, like I had to meet new people because I wasn't with the same, you know, girl or like just same friends and stuff. Because I just had to try a ton of different stuff and get my life to a better place that I wanted it to be, right? And then I just kept doing different things, and I'm like, oh, I really like that feeling, like when it scares you, but you go do it, and then you're like, oh, I could do this. Or like, I remember all those studio sessions, and no songs were made at all, but I was like having such a hard time with it, and then suddenly it just clicked for me, and then I would just have so much motivation to go and make another and just do it again and again, you know?
Yeah.
And that's just like, even after that, and I took that seriously and kept going every week, I was just like, I just want to do that. Like, I just like just doing things that scare you, you know? And that's what the songs do. So it's like really like a reflection. I like, you know, putting it out there, and then I'm like, oh, I remember what I was thinking when I made this song. And yeah, I just been like trying to do a ton of different things, like the performances. The first one, that was like, when was that? January. I think it was January or February, and I pulled up, and it was like a few people there, and I'm like, okay, it's gonna be cool, you know, I'm gonna perform for the first time, and it's like good people. I already know Vital and like Adri and Zeus and AJ and all of them, and then Adri was like, yo, he was pointing at me, right? So they were performing, and he didn't want to like make a scene, so he just like pointed at me. He was like by AJ when he was doing all the DJ stuff, and he's like, yo, come here, and I'm like, oh my god. And I'm like, I really gotta do it now.
Yeah.
And then I got up there, and he's like, you wanna go? And I'm like, yeah. And then so they got like a thing of water in the corner, you know?
Yeah.
And I had grabbed one earlier, but I had finished it. And then I was like, oh shit, I don't got any more water. And my throat was all dry, and I was getting scared. I'm like, oh my god. And then the guy who was performing before me, I forgot who it was, he had gotten off. And then they handed the mic to me, and then he's like, all right, our next, you know, performer. I'm like, oh, I really just got to do it. And I performed like some of my earliest songs, right?
Yeah.
Like the first song I did, another one that a lot of people really liked at the time, and then the Messing With Me one that was unreleased at the time. And I was scared for the first two, but they were like, oh yeah, you know, they were like giving me good energy. There's a lot of good energy that night. And then by the third one, when I did that, it's different from what a lot of people come and do. A lot of people just do rap, you know? And mine is like, that one is definitely more like an R&B sound. And I played that one, and everyone was like, oh yeah, like that's some shit, that's different. And then at the end, I had them like singing, like by the last like Time It Repeats, had them singing, and that was just like crazy. Like for the first show too, that was just like an insane feeling.
That's
like,
crazy, bro.
Yeah, I really liked it, and I was just like, damn, that's so crazy. Like at first I was scared, and I got home, and I'm like, yeah, I really did that.
That's crazy.
And then
bro.
I just, what did I do? I think I was in school, so I just went back to school the next day, and it was just like, dang.
You're a rock star, bro. Already.
Yeah.
Oh, that shit is crazy. I really like the whole thing because it sounds like you're really just fascinated with music, and then also within yourself, you got that thing if you want to take everything to a nice level
Yeah.
for yourself, and that's just how it went, bro. You didn't even plan nothing. I didn't think of it.
No, it's weird, bro. It's
And then
crazy.
just to have that first reaction to your performance, bro.
Yeah, I knew it was something.
That's
different.
natural shit, bro.
Appreciate
I fuck
it,
with
bro.
that, bro.
Appreciate it.
This is Anthony, y'all. Oh my god. I don't know. I feel like some type of way sitting here with you, bro. Because I see you and you're so young. And just your spirit and the way that you're so motivated, bro.
Yeah, it's just like, it was like that, right? You know, that summer, I would just like, I had a lot of time to really reflect at things, you know? And it was like a lot of like negativity during that like relationship that I was in, and it finally like just like let itself go. But I was like, I didn't think I didn't think of that at the time, so I was just like really sad. But then I realized what it really was, you know, and
Yeah.
then I started to realize like a lot of things for what it is, and then that was like a really rough year, like my junior year, right? It was the end of my junior year, and then it was summer, and I was really just working at the time, right? So I was just working, making my money, and focused on that. I didn't really have anything else I really liked, you know. It was summer, so I was just like, okay, you know, I'm just gonna hang out with my friends and stuff. And I just always had a passion for music, and I see all these artists, like a lot of people that really have talent. A lot of them, like, they could have taken it way farther, but it's so much like ego or just, you know, little stuff like that that holds them back. So like I was like, I really want to get myself to a point where it's like that can't hold me back, you know. And so like I said, I would just try doing things that kind of scare me or just different stuff. Like I hung out with like a ton of different people that I didn't think I would hang out with, and it just shows you like a ton of different like ways of life that you didn't even know were going on,
Yeah.
rather than just like what you're used to. So like that's why I also took that approach with like music. Like I started more like melodic rap because I liked hip hop, but I really liked the like melodic stuff. But I really had like a passion for like R&B too, and I just like started looking into it more. And then I didn't really think I had vocals like that, but I
Yeah.
just wanted to develop it. And then over time, like coming in the studio, like it just got better and better. So I was able to make songs like that. And then I was like, nobody around this area that's like young, they don't got stuff going on like that. It's all rap. Like people just put so much negativity, and it's just like a lot of people just do it because like real easy. You know, you could just talk about whatever. You could just lie in it.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't like that, and I don't know. I didn't want to be seen as that either, and like growing up, like in school, like I wasn't like the best kid, you know. Like in high school, I had like a really rough time at the beginning, and people would only know me for like bad stuff almost, you know. And I didn't like that, and then it's crazy to see now that I have this music stuff going on. It's like they all know that, so it's like crazy because I really like put my mind to it, and now it's happening, and it's weird because like I am used to like a lot of stuff, like just like being around a lot of negativity and just different bad choices, you know, just bad things surrounded by them, and it's like the easy way out, you know. A lot of people, you know, it's like it's not like the worst neighborhood. It's not really like that bad, but it's like a lot of like drug problems and just like alcohol stuff, and I just didn't like that, you know. And I'm like, it's weird because a lot of people try to influence that on you, and I was just like, no, because that's gonna like hold me back from doing what I gotta do. And a lot of people were just like, no, like why you know have dreams like that, like that's not gonna happen, you know. Like we live in a small town, like
Yeah.
you can't do any of that. And I'm just surrounded by like that type of negativity constantly, or just like different choices that could get me, you know, in trouble. And I just didn't want anything to do with that. So like it's kind of hard getting away from that, but because I forced myself to, like in that time it really like helped me now. So like now it's like easier to stay away from that type of stuff. Like especially like when that's like a lot of the stuff that's surrounding you is like, oh well, I could go, hang out with my friends, but I know they're not gonna do nothing good, or I'll just stay home and stay on my way and try to get something done.
Yeah.
And it's like a hard decision because you want like what's gonna satisfy you. I had to like discipline myself early to get what I want, and it's definitely paying off now. And it's like much easier to stay out of that. But that's why I chose like after making Mess With Me, and that's what people really like. Like that's the one that stood out and got me like further than any of like the 4 tracks I did before that. I was like, I'm gonna go with more of that sound, and people just tend to like that type of stuff. It's like I had a few people come up to my shows after. It was like the last few shows, and they would come up to me and they're like, "Oh yeah, I really liked like the way you like did your melodies on that. Like it's different. Like it was starting to show, because at the first time I was kind of nervous, and I was really just trying to perform like the song right, like like how it sounds. But by like these last few events, I was able to perform it, but have fun with it too, and people can feel that energy, like one of the last shows that there was like a lot of underground type of stuff, like when we pulled up, and I think the one that you did like the saxophone hat, and like you could really feel the energy in the building at that night, you know what I mean? So like I don't know, it's really just people want like they want like to listen to different stuff sometimes, a lot of rap, it's the same stuff, and that's why it's so easy for people to get big with that, because it's like, oh, I'm familiar with this sound, and it's just kind of the same stuff just coming from different people. But I feel like when I see artists, like there's not like too many artists right now that I really think are like different. But one example would be, I don't know if you've heard of Capella Gray. He had a song called Gallus. That was like the big one that it kind of blew up on TikTok, and something about it was just like insane to me, and I really liked his style too, because it's kind of like what I'm trying to go for. But I had looked into like the interviews he did, and he was saying how he pushed that song independently, and now it was like the biggest song of the summer, and it's still being played right now. It got like 45 million streams like just on Spotify, and that's just like crazy. So it's like it'll really pay off, but at like the beginning, people are not gonna like look at it just because it's different. Yeah. But that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do something different, something that could last longer, because there's certain stuff like that people are doing right now, like a lot of drill stuff, like it's only gonna last so long, and you can't listen to it that many times. I just want to make like timeless stuff.
Timeless. I've been thinking about that a lot lately, bro, because I feel like music right now, like it's so saturated, and I feel like I go to a lot of events and a lot of people just sound like each other, and or sometimes it'll be like, I don't know, bro. I just want to hear something that when we're old and we have kids and shit, our kids are listening to those songs.
Yeah.
You know? Like that's what the point that I want to get to anyway.
And that's exactly what I'm on, cause like I said, I was I had like really a passion for R&B, but I just didn't. I don't know, like people around me, they didn't really listen to that too much. Like it was like the kids I went to school with, a lot of them were like, oh no, like that R&B stuff's cool, but like you should be a rapper instead. And I'm like, bro, I don't want to do that, like that's what everyone wants you to do, cause like who you are before, they're like, oh no, like you was doing all this type of stuff, like do that, but I'm like, no, I'm bigger than that, but I really liked R&B, and I started listening to more stuff, and then I really look at it, and a lot of the songs are like older songs that are still being played to this day, and a lot of times are being sampled now too. Like I don't know if you heard Fabio Foreign, his new album, but they had sampled like "Say My Name" by Destiny's Child, and that's just like a timeless song. So I'm like, I analyze like all these songs, and I'm like, I just gotta, make something like this, and that's just what I try to do now. I don't want to make songs that sound the same. I just have to like go different, but it's so hard because when you're in there, like in the studio making it,
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like anything people do. So you don't know if you're doing it right. So it's like I'm doing it, but I don't know if this is right. And then like over time, you really start to listen. You're like, I got something here.
For sure, bro. I think as long as you got a good ear, bro, you can tell yourself what sounds good, what doesn't
Mhm.
sound good.
Yeah. Yeah, it took a while, like, at first, because, like, I had no experience with recording, I had no experience with, like, using my voice at all like that. So I had to just learn by myself. But, like, now, I feel like I'm so good at writing now that I can just, like, tell, like, even before I record it, like, oh, this is going to come out nice,
For sure. So what's your writing process? Like when you go to the studio, do you write it there, or do you write it then go to the studio, or what?
Now it's a little bit different, but when I first started, I would listen to the beat and I would just like hum melodies and stuff, and then I would just find the right one for each individual like section of the song. So like, cause I was so used to making beats, I knew like how to spread out the song and like layer it and stuff, like the right sections of them. So I would start with like either the hook or the verse, and I would find what melody goes for each thing, and then I kind of like start just saying words, and then it would kind of fill in.
Yeah.
So that's what I did, and then some songs they did just come really easily, like messing with me. I was just like thinking of a few different things, and then I just started saying what, and it just fit together. But it really, I have to start like humming the melodies first, and then the words just kind of fall in. And then the one I just released last month, So Different, that one I wrote in my creative writing class. We were doing just poems and stuff, so I was already working on like rhyming and all of that, and we had to write like a story or whatever. And I remember I had lost my AirPods like a few weeks back, and I was so mad. And then I had the wired headphones, and then I lost those, so I was going to school with no music for weeks. And I was like, bro, like I'm going through it. And then one of my best friends, he was sitting next to me, and he had like the newer AirPods, right, with like the noise canceling and everything. And but he also had like another pair because he loses them so quickly.
Yeah.
So he has like two pairs. I'm like, yo, can I use one? And he's like, yeah, I got you. And it was like the last 5 minutes of class, and I was just going through BeatStars looking at beats, and I found that, and I'm like, this is crazy. So I play it, and then I have my notebook, and I decided to write instead, because I usually just type it in on the notes app. And I was listening, and I put the noise canceling, and it's like everybody just went away. And I was like, that's so crazy, because I'd never used it. And then I just started writing, and I was just writing like what I was going through, and I was just kind of coming up with different melodies and stuff. And then I was writing it a little bit in the hall in like my phone, and then I had gone home that day, and I'm like kind of hungry, right? So I go after school in the car, play it before I leave in the parking lot, and I was just listening to the beat, and I'm like, okay, I gotta do the verse, and then I just kept filling it in, just piece by piece. And then yeah, it comes from like whatever I'm going through at the moment. I just try to put it in the song, just like real stuff,
Yeah, bro. I saw that is Art and Hustle. Is that yours?
Yeah.
What are you planning to do? What is it? What
It's
is your
like
vision with it?
my vision with it is to be like a label and release like my music through that, and get other artists that I feel have like the same vision as me, or like the same type of different stuff. Like they just different than like a lot of the other artists. I just want to give them like an opportunity to grow together, but it doesn't have to be the same type of music. Yeah, I just really want to make that into a company that I could use to just build everyone up.
Yeah, bro. I feel that. My shit that we got going on, 28 Angels. It started off just Cloud 28, but the whole idea of it, and then I'll get to the number 28 meaning, but the whole idea of it was basically just everybody that I genuinely fuck with. Like, whenever there's an opportunity for somebody, I always keep those people in mind and shit like that. And we always just full support each other and pop out to each other's events and stuff like that. And we all grow together, bro, because, it's like a team effort sometimes. And one of my homies had pointed out to me when I first started thinking about it, he was like, in Atlanta, so many rappers are popping off in Atlanta right now because they all help each other come.
Mm.
And that's when I started getting into that mentality. But I don't want to ever force anybody to be like, oh, you're my whatever, you're my team or whatever. Like, it's just like a thing. Like, if you vibe with me and like you're on the same wavelength as far as, genuine support for one another and shit like that, and we're gonna grow together. Like, that's what that is, bro. And then the number 28, one day, it came from. I just kept seeing it everywhere.
Like the angel numbers type?
Yeah, type shit. So I looked up, I was like, what is it? And so what it is if you keep seeing the number 28, your angels are telling you that that everything you're working for is gonna pay off. And and that it's like abundance. And one of the things also is living in service to others is just gonna come back to you through the universe, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just kind of what this whole shit is, bro. This is a 28 podcast right now, you know what I'm saying? Before we wrap it up, bro, I wanted to ask a few questions. Like, what were like your earliest memories of music, bro?
Earliest memories of music, just like listening to music with my family. I'm Mexican, so they played a lot of Spanish music, and then you go to all the like family parties and they would always play music and they were just in a good mood. And then I remember the first thing I really started listening to is crazy. No one would expect this. Is like EDM stuff. And my sister had put me on because she's like 9 years older than me, right? So I was like 5 or 6 and we were just in the car and she had put me onto like some EDM stuff, and that's what I really like just like grew to like because it was so simple, For like, I was so little, I couldn't, like, it's hard to comprehend lyrics sometimes, but like, as you grow, you get different music tastes, but it was just instruments and stuff, so I really liked it. And it's crazy, because even then, I knew I wanted to do something with music.
Yeah.
Like, I would just, like, think in my head, I'm like, if I could just be, like, performing music like this, like, that would just be, like, my dream. But I didn't, like, I don't know, it was so crazy. I just had that vision already. Yeah. And then, like, I remember my sister had, like, in school they would give you the recorders, like the flute things. And I remember we had one, and I would always just run around and just be playing that, like, obnoxiously, not even playing. And then I started band, and that's, like, in 5th grade, and that's where it really took off, because I really liked the drums and stuff. So I would just learn different stuff, and I just really like, music, just what it does, and, like, connects people and everything.
That's awesome. You really love R&B, bro. So
yeah.
Who are like some of your top artists?
Top artists like.
Maybe just your favorite ones or whatever, bro.
I would say one of my favorite ones is a new artist. His name Capella Gray. You gotta check him out. His biggest song, Gallus. That one just so crazy. He had done like the sample. He had sampled back that ass up and like just like in a different way, and he got a really good vocals. And the story behind it's just so crazy, and like the song itself is not even like a normal structure. It's like a minute and 30 seconds long. It's super short, but it's just like crazy. I don't know. Tory Lanez, another big one, cause he does like a lot of rap stuff too. But I remember like when I first heard him back in middle school with like I think what was it, Say It and Love. That's like his big ones back then. I just really liked his style, and I have like a higher voice myself, so I always like listen to people like that, and I always grew up kind of like subconscious about it, but after like it kind of like stayed that high, as I grew up, I kind of like thought about it. I'm like, maybe I could sound like that, you know, too, and that's kind of like my thing now, you know. It's kind of higher, so like that's someone I look up to as well. And then another one would be Queen Naja. She's been doing her thing recently. I just been listening to like a lot of different stuff. She has one with Dirk. She just had like a really big song with Big Sean. I don't know. It's just like something about it. She got like kind of like that 2000 style to her voice. You know, like Beyonce almost.
When I first met you, bro, you explained to me right before you even performed or anything that your music kind of sounds like 2000s, like.
Yeah.
But like, so, which artist do you think of when you think of 2000s, bro? Like
Okay.
when you were young growing up, like that you heard.
You see, I recently would like revisit stuff that I remember hearing, right?
Yeah.
So like I remember, there was certain songs like Justin Timberlake, and it's crazy because I found like a similarity in one of my newer songs to one of his old songs, right?
Yeah.
But I had heard that song after I made it, right?
Yeah.
But I remember hearing it at, like only when I was little. I never listened to it like after, but I just remember listening to it in the car. It was the one with T.I., My Love.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, and he was just kind of like telling a story, but the beats I picked sound like it, right? But the way that it's gotta be like one of my favorite songs, the one I'm promoting right now.
What's it called, bro?
It's called Miami.
Miami.
I'm probably gonna drop it like this month or next month. It's some vibes, but the way that came about was I was in class. It was before Messing With Me. That's the crazy part. I had wrote the hook before Messing With Me. I had heard the beat and I'm like, this is crazy, and it had like the little vocal chops, and I made like a melody along to it, and then it just fit perfectly. But I didn't really know what to do for the verses. I only had like a little verse. I was just thinking like, what could I write about? And I was like writing about, I'm like, okay, I'll write about this girl in my class or whatever. And then I did that for the first verse, and then the second verse came along like when I recorded it. So that was back in August, right? And then I had recorded it in January. So it was like a way different vibe, but I just didn't know what to do with the verse until then, and I finally figured it out.
Yeah.
Like the day of that studio session, went in and recorded it, and I just like try to have fun with it, you know. I had another song I wanted to do, but it didn't come out like the right way. And then my engineer Zeus, shout out to Zeus, he was just like, bro, just have fun with it. I'm like, all right. So I was just in there and I'm like trying to, you know, loosen up, and I'm like, this is so hard, the beat, and I started like jumping and everything, and I was just, you know, in there just having fun.
Yeah.
And then that's gotta be like one of my favorite songs that I made like of all time, because I had this vision for it that I wanted it to make it like those types of songs that I would hear, you know. And I was just like, that's what I was doing when I was writing it, but I had like no songs out at that time, so I like didn't. That's why I waited like so long to record it, you know, because I had a vision, but I didn't really have any experience with the vocals, so I started really just like small steps, and then I had Messing With Me already done by then, and I was already gonna release it by that time. So I'm like, okay, they kind of match the vibe, and people really like that. So I'm like, I'm gonna stick with this sound, and this is gonna be crazy. Like, bro, it's gonna be crazy when that releases.
Miami.
Yeah.
Miami. Alright, bro. I'm about to wrap up the podcast. This has been the 28th podcast. You want to tell them your name one more time?
Yeah, I'm Anthony H. You can find me on Instagram at _AnthonyH17. Thank you for having me, bro.
You got it, bro. Alright, y'all.